Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and today is your August 2022 Oracle reading. August is a month that is chock full of acceleration, potentiality, and opportunity for you to return more fully to your OG, your original mission here on earth, and to your original self, your true self, your most authentic expression in form. There's a lot of talk about the 8-8 portal. We had the Cathar prophecy, which came into fruition on 8/21/21 last year, activating a whole stream of consciousness to assist the co-creation of the next golden age. You have all of this powerful, yummy energy this month here to assist you, and we encourage and invite you to use it for your highest benefit. So I'm going to share with you the Oracle reading that is just for you, just for those listening to this podcast and who are part of my email swirl who receive this. And we really want you to take this to heart and apply it in your experience in this month of August. So this is actually a really short, I think this is our shortest Oracle reading we've ever had for you for a monthly reading. I tune in and I ask my connection to Source to please guide me to the Oracle, because we've written 6 or 7 now it is, which Oracle specifically the message comes from, and then I ask to be guided to the specific page that the message that is just for my swirl to receive. And so I was guided to our book, Love Now, Your Daily Dose of Love and Miracles, and this is a daily practice. Every single day you read a snippet, you get a piece of source consciousness to assist you for that day. And I turn to the entry of July 2nd in our book, Love Now. And this message is so succinct and potent. I'm going to share it with you now and then share a little bit more about how you can apply this in your experience in the month of August. Okay, so here we go. You are on an important mission to evolve forward that which you came to evolve forward in this lifetime here on earth. You are on an eternal journey. There is simply no end to you. There is simply only greater and greater expansion of you into more of your source self in every lifetime. So take a nice, deep, cleansing breath there to just receive that message. And if you know Cortices tapping, I would encourage you to tap in that message with Cortices to really tap in your alignment to your specific important mission on your eternal journey. So we want you to look at your experience here on earth at this time as one phase of your eternal journey. So you're an eternal being. There is no end to you. You have always been and always will be. You incarnate into various forms on various planes of consciousness to carry out specific missions that you have previously agreed to before incarnating. Now, some of your mission, and in certainly the case of when you incarnate upon earth, some of your mission is cleaning up past missteps in earlier earth incarnations. So bringing any not rightness, not alignment into alignment. So if there are any souls that you had unresolved conflicts with, if you had unresolved hurts, if you had unresolved pain or wounds with any other souls in previous incarnations, in this incarnation, part of your mission is to bring those conflicts, that unresolved tension, whatever it is, to bring it to peace. So in the case of romantic relationships, I'm speaking from experience. I have many karmic partners, or I have had many karmic partners in this incarnation, meaning that there were romantic connections that were not at full peace. And so we meet up again in this incarnation to bring it to peace. Now, early on in my journey, I thought if I remembered someone from a previous incarnation or had a vision or a specific dream sequence about them that denoted that I had known them before, that meant we're going to be together forever and live happily ever after. because I watch too many rom-coms and Disney movies as part of my trance programming in the third dimension. What I came to realize through my spiritual maturation and my emotional maturity process is that I was actually coming back together with those karmic partners to bring any tension, any conflict to peace. Now, what does that look like in any sort of relationship, romantic included? So this can be friendships, relatives that you come back into contact with from other incarnations. The whole intention, your whole intention and mission with each other is to bring the connection to a place of peace. So you bring it to a place of friendship and ease. Now, you may not be best friends. You may not be close friends. What I have found is that you bring it to peace. It comes to completion, and then you don't really have too much more to do with them. Often in the case of romantic partnerships, but also in the case of karmic clients, karmic friendships, karmic collaborations, karmic relatives, meaning there was unresolved conflict, tension, unfinished business in some way that needed to be finished. And the finishing, again, is bringing it to peace. I have not had the experience where we bring it to peace and then we're very actively involved in each other's lives. Again, whether it's romantic, clients, relatives, collaborators, friends. Usually you bring it to peace and then you go your separate ways and it's all good and it's all beautiful. Now, the great part of this and the reason why it's part of your mission here in this incarnation is that then you don't have to come back together again and again and again and again and play out the same storylines, the same wounds, the same hurt, the same conflict over and over again. So we want you to understand that your mission here on earth is multifaceted and that some of your mission contains aspects of conflict, disharmony that you've had in other incarnations, even other incarnations on other planes of consciousness, because the earth isn't the only show. It's one of the most fun shows. It's one of the most challenging shows, but there are many planes of consciousness that you may incarnate onto for a variety of purposes and reasons. But these are multifaceted missions that you'll have. You'll also have specific actions that you are meant to take in this incarnation as your primary work in the world. So what is it that you really care about? What really lights you up? What really gets you activated? That's giving you clues about the areas of which you are most meant to be of service in this incarnation. Now, as you evolve, that will change and evolve. And if you've read any of my oracles or read any of my books, you know, for me, it started out when I was in the third dimension. My passion was, I want to help women and children and families of domestic violence because I grew up in a volatile home environment. So one of the reasons I grew up in a volatile home environment is because I meant to bring that to peace and meant to bring that and contribute as much as I can to resolving that wound in the collective psyche. So when I was in the third dimension, that looked like supporting women's shelters, volunteering, contributing for causes and nonprofits that supported women and children and families of domestic violence. As I continued my spiritual and emotional maturation process and my own personal evolution, it then began to shift into actually having women and children and families that have been involved in domestic violence into my healing practice and supporting their liberation through the greater psychological and spiritual and karmic pieces that call those factors to them. This also included, as I continued on my journey, healing my own psyche, my own self of any experiences that I've had in previous incarnations of experiencing what we would call domestic violence. So your mission will shift and change and evolve as you shift and change and evolve. And this is a very good thing. So your reminder, your invitation, the piece that your higher wisdom is really inviting you into in this month of August is to recognize that you are an eternal being. So you come in and out of bodies as you need to for the purposes of carrying out your mission. Your mission is multifaceted. It includes people, places, things, work. So what we call work, the specific gifts that you're here to give to support whoever, whatever aspects of the collective consciousness and of the earth plane that you're here to assist and support. So this is one phase of your journey, this incarnation. And it's important because this incarnation sets you up for what you'll experience in your next incarnation. So there is a false programming in the third dimensional or the artificial matrix or the hijacked agenda, whatever terminology most resonates for you, but basically the trance state that is disconnected from source. There is false programming that says, well, you only live once, you gotta just go for it. Back when I was, very much in the third dimension before my spiritual awakening, it was like, talking with girlfriends, what should we do about this relationship or this job or whatever it is? And the advice would be given, just go for it. You only live once. Just leave that job, leave that man, do the da-da-da, go here, go there, blow up your life. It's fine. But what's actually true is that you live so many times. Most likely, if you're listening to this podcast, you've lived at least 100 lifetimes, if not more. So every lifetime, though, is predicated by what you did before, meaning what you get set up for in this incarnation is based on where you last left off. So you want to look at your early childhood, the family systems you incarnated into. That's going to tell you a lot about where you were vibrating at prior to this. This isn't the greatest thing for those of us to hear that incarnated into non-amazing family systems. But what's so amazing is that at this accelerated time and consciousness that we are living in, those of us here on earth, you can move through many lifetimes in one lifetime here on earth. Let me illustrate. Some of you will see this if you follow the principles of what you call astrology, and we'll have some conversations in the future about what really is astrology and all of that. But for now, we'll keep it simple. You may see that I'm living a lot. Like if someone looked at my imprint, they see, she's living a lot of lifetimes in one lifetime. Meaning the opportunity that I set myself up for before incarnating was, I'm going to radically evolve myself. I'm going to start in at a really shitty environment, which is carrying some vibrational match to whatever I was living before. And I'm going to catapult that to a whole other dimension. But we don't even have to use the science of astrology to know that if you are here at this time and you're listening to a podcast of this magnitude of light, that you also have the opportunity, if you have not already, but I'm sure you have, to live many, many different incarnational experiences than just one. Back in the day, you come to Earth, you're slogging through that one marriage, the whole way through, that one job, that one career, the whole way through. That's a non-accelerated incarnation. When you have an accelerated incarnational desire and experience, you're going to start out in something maybe pretty like, what the F? Why did I choose this to incarnate into? And then by the time you make your transition, you will have transcended that above and beyond what you could even imagine. You'll live 3 to 4 to 5 to 10 lifetimes in one lifetime. And I say that's what's happening if you're doing it right. Truly. I remember, an editor that I worked for many years ago, when she heard more about my life story, she was like, and this was in my early 30s, she said, you've lived like 10 lifetimes already. I know. Because I came with a big mission, and so did you. So we really want to invite you into this understanding that you have a sacred mission that is multifaceted. You are on an eternal journey, and what you do here sets you up for where you go next. So that's why it matters to bring those karmic relationships of all kinds, romantic, familial, friendship, business, whatever it is, to bring them to peace, to bring them to a space of harmony, because then you don't have to carry that conflict and tension forward any longer. For me, on my journey, there are some of my karmic relationships, romantic specifically. I have not experienced this with family and friends and clients, but with romantic partners, I mean lifetimes. Okay, so many lifetimes of not being able to bring it to peace, getting so triggered, so activated by each other that we could not let each other go to the next stage of growth and expansion. but no more. Not in this incarnation. No, no, no. Because of my particular imprint, I'm able to tune in and say, not doing that. And I want to pass this on to you, pay it forward. Don't do it. You don't have to meet up with them 10 more lifetimes. You can bring it to peace now. You can bring any and all disharmony and conflict in your life to harmony and peace now. Isn't that so exciting? So exciting. We don't have to keep banging into each other and trying to figure it out and hurting each other. We can say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I set you free. I set myself free. August is a beautiful month for setting yourself free of all that is not serving your highest timeline destiny and setting yourself and stepping into more fully your highest timeline destiny. Now, how do you know what your highest timeline destiny is? Well, you've got to know yourself. Know thyself. Principle number 1 of any spiritual tradition. You have to know what you're working with. What did you come here to do? What lights you up the most? Who are the people that most aggravate you? Those are the ones you need to bring it to peace with. What is the work that no matter what else you do, you can't shake from your knowing that you have to carry this out? Don't spend 2 or 3 more incarnations fighting to do what you really came here to do. Just like those romantic partners you can't let go of, same thing happens with giving your special gifts on earth. Most likely, if you're listening to this podcast, you've had experiences in other incarnations where you were giving your gifts and that didn't go so well. You got hurt, you got tortured, maybe even killed. And so there is this fear of fully bringing your light to the forefront. Whatever that is, artist, healer, creative, engineer, whatever it is, your specific gifts that you most are here to give. The reason folks sabotage themselves from this is because it didn't go well before and they have subconscious suppressed terror of bringing it to fruition. So make this time, this incarnation that you're in, this phase of your eternal journey, make it about bringing to peace and harmony all that which has not been in peace and harmony for you. Make it about bringing your subconscious content to the light of your conscious mind. You've heard me talk about this. Your subconscious mind runs 95% of your experience. 95%. Your conscious mind, the part of you that's just like, yeah, hey, everything's cool. 5%. You have 5% knowledge of what's really going on. So you've got to have daily practices, consistent healing modalities that are going to restore you to your true self. To do that, you've got to bring the subconscious to the light. And so much of this you can do on your own, and then so much of it you can quantum leap with a trusted soul resonant practitioner, teacher, mentor. So don't give up on your mission. You know what it is. You know who those specific people are that you love more than anything. We got to talk about those people, right? The people that you love more than anything and you can't explain it and there's nothing you can do about it. You just love them. Just keep loving them. Forgive them and love them, and forgive them and love them. And while you're at it, go deeper into your own personal healing. The deeper you go into your own personal healing, the less external forgiveness work you have to do. And there's a lot put on the one that we call, in the modern world, I guess we would say, although modern, it's actually pretty archaic. But in any event, there's a lot we put on the guy we call Jesus Christ, who the true inspiration for that storyline was Yeshua ben Joseph. And there's a lot that's put on him about forgiveness. Oh yeah, I did a lot on forgiveness. It's not actually the case. Because when you do your own inner illumination work, and you bring the subconscious to the conscious, and you are transformed by the light of source, there is no one to forgive. And you know that. The connection to source, no forgiveness necessary. But in our human resentment, human conflict, the stuff that comes up, there is the need for forgiveness. Meaning you got to get that ego mind, that personality self to go, okay, I can let this go. I can quote unquote forgive them. But at the highest dimensions of consciousness, it's all just love. And when you love people so purely, and when you love so purely, there's no need to forgive. It's like the mother and the child, right? The child does something, rude or inconsiderate to the mom, and then he comes to his mother and says, I'm so sorry, Mama, that I hurt you in this way, and that I said this nasty thing or whatever it is. And she says, oh, don't even worry about it. I love you. That's the source consciousness. That's the source connection. It's like, it doesn't even matter. I just love you. So those people that you just love, that you love so much, and there's no way to explain it, and maybe you try to rationalize, like, why do I love this person? It doesn't make any sense. Just keep loving them. Just keep loving them. And if your personality or ego needs to forgive them, then forgive them. But keep going deeper into your own alignment with Source, and all you'll have to do is love them. And the people you have conflict, disharmony with, just bring it to peace, bring it to friendship, bring it to ease. Bring it to a peaceful stillness. And that sacred work that you're here to do, that you know deep in your heart and soul that you're here to do it. Do not delay. Don't make this another lifetime where you delay and push off what your good is to receive, because you have a unique and specific mission that only you have and only you can carry out. The collective consciousness cannot go higher without each of us doing our part. It's really so amazing, isn't it? This whole thing we're doing here on earth, when you connect into Source and you see it through the eyes of Source, it's like, whoa, this simulation is a trip. Oh, you've heard me joke about, like, the trippiest trip you'll ever go on is being radically sober. One of my dear sisters and teachers said this, and I was like, yes, it's so true. I'm tripping out all the time. And I've never once touched a drug or quote unquote plant medicine or any of that shit. You don't need it when you're connected to Source. This life is phenomenal, and it's wild, and it's a total freaking trip, and it's hilarious, and it's tragic, and it's incredible, and it will make you bawl your eyes out, and it will make you rejoice to the heavens and give gratitude. It's incredible. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be here on earth. This is one of the most advanced planes of consciousness, because you're dealing with duality. You're dealing with an artificial matrix, a hijacked agenda that is working all day, every day to poison you out of living your mission, and poison you out of living your good, and poison you out of coming together with your beloved. However the poison comes in, through the media, through other quote unquote humans, through the food, through the water, through the air, through the EMFs, you name it. You are being hammered with it every day, all day, which is why your spiritual practice matters, which is why listening to podcasts like this matters, which is why having yourself surrounded by other high vibrational beings who see things through the Source perspective matters. It's why walking your talk matters. Talk about the biggest wake-up call of my life from 2020 on. I have seen so many humans, both clients, mentors, collaborators, people I admired and was inspired by. So much truth coming in, showing not walking their talk. Saying one thing, doing another. Clients telling me one thing, living in a totally different way. Just wake-up call after wake-up call. Maybe you've had a similar experience. What's the point of that? To bust us out of the trance of naivete. To bust us out of the trance of just taking things at face value and always going deeper. Always going deeper. All right, my loves. It's an honor and a joy to share this message with you. You are here on an important mission to evolve forward that which you came to evolve forward in this lifetime. You are on an eternal journey. There is simply no end to you. There is simply only greater and greater expansion of you into more of your Source self in every lifetime. Let's make this the lifetime that you do what Mary Magdalene and Yeshua and Mother Mary and Buddha and Krishna and many other great masters did. Make this the incarnation where you allow your source self, your higher self, to fully unify with your physical body and live as the divine human, the radiant being of light, the feminine Christ, the masculine Christ that you came here to be. Through the power of the pure cosmic Christed heart and through divine grace, so be it. And so it is. It is so. If this podcast was of benefit to you, please consider making a donation in the amount that your spirit guides you to. You can do that at sacred-spirituality.org. Click on the podcast tab and that'll take you there to do that. Your donations make this kind of high vibrational content available on a consistent basis. We've got more goodness coming for you in the months to come. We've got some surprises happening with Awakening the Podcast, so stay tuned for that. If you'd like to work more with me, stay tuned for more details and feel free to DM me. We are going to be having a new certification training to assist those who have a specific mission in caring for the earth and supporting the earth into her transformation as the next golden age. And that includes all lands, all waters, all living beings in specific territories on the earth. Are you intrigued? DM me for more. Also stay tuned for future emails and podcasts to tell you more about it. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and this has been Awakening the Podcast.